Howdy folks. So today we have something a little bit different. This is a early 1970s Torcan box fan. This is actually my mother's originally, and I've borrowed it from her because it's getting to be quite hot in my house. I have a 3-story house. It doesn't maintain temperature very well between the top and bottom floors, so this is going to be helping with that. And I thought I'd bring it out and fix it up before I put it into service. So I'll just go over it a little bit. This is probably one of the last really good fans of this type that was made. Torcan, as far as I know, was a Canadian fan manufacturer, and this was one of their very popular models. They made a few different variants of this. And you can tell the difference by looking at the handle on the top, for example. This is a plastic sort of pull-out handle like this. And you can see right here, if I pull this out, you can see that that was what the plastic, or more of what the plastic originally looked like. And it's gone this cream color, and it's got this kind of speckled look on it. I mean, this thing has been used and abused, but the plastic has not fared so well in the sun. The front, I mean, it's got lots of marks. It's got paint splatter. The only real physical damage is this little brace here is missing. But I mean, nothing functional is gone on this. It's got a speed selector up here, low, medium, and high, which works. And yeah, I mean, it's got some dust on it. It's been sitting for quite a while. This thing is a very powerful fan, and the reason that I have to fix it up before I use it is the fact that it's not balanced. You can see that there's some putty on there, and you can see there's some black markings where I tried to balance this many years ago, and I was not fully successful. So I'd like to try again. My best shot at getting this balanced, if I can find what blade is wrong, is to drill a hole through the edge of that blade and actually insert a bolt with a washer and use that as a weight to weigh down whatever blade it is. And I'll go through this in a minute, but that's the task really. So this particular unit has one marking here: do not use in window. And it does actually still have its original nameplate on the bottom. If I can just get it, this thing is very big. So we have a number here, SA model 1091, 2.1 amps at 115 volts, 60 hertz. So the fact that it says hertz on there confirms that this is an early 1970s at least unit, but I mean, my mother is one who bought this, and she says it was early 70s, and I believe her. There's no watts marking, but you can do the math, multiply those, you get the watts. This thing, now I don't know if this is running amps or if this is starting amps, because this thing, you may have noticed on the switch, it goes off, low, medium, high, which is the opposite of most fans these days. Most fans will have off, high, medium, low, and the reason that modern fans do that is so that the fan is basically guaranteed to start, and it won't stall and burn out the motor coils. This motor doesn't do that, so I'm not sure if and it does. You can definitely hear the coil struggle when it starts. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's running amps, because that would be a lot of power. I do have a power meter. You've seen it in my previous videos, so I'm going to be using that on this to check how much power it uses in all of the 3 different speed settings. The cord is not in. I mean, it's usable. I may want to replace this at some point. It's still okay for now, but the way that they do it on the bottom is they've just got the cable going into this little plastic grommet there, and it gets bent a lot. So if it fails, it's going to fail right there. And yeah, so I'm not going to replace the cord yet, but maybe I will. So I'm going to take this front panel off so we can get a better look inside. But you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blades, plus these smaller blades which are over the motor itself. And if I just flip the unit over, it's very heavy. You can see up in the corner here, that's the speed selector switch. You can see the back of the motor here. It's quite a decent sized motor. I mean, compared to my hand, I mean that's a decent sized motor. So I wouldn't be surprised if that thing can pull 200 watts easy. I mean, it's the right size, and boy can this thing move air. But it also shakes like crazy. So I've got to fix that. So I've removed the cover, and you can now get a better view with the rotor assembly here. And up there is just the little box with the... I'm not actually sure how they're doing the speed control on this. I may open that little flap on the bottom there. It's just one screw. I want to see how they're doing it. But this is our assembly here. So I've got it plugged in. So let's just put it on low, and you can hear how this thing starts up. Excuse the wind noise because I'm right in front of it. So I hope you can continue to hear me okay. I might try to stand at least a little bit out of the wind path, but you can see very easily that it moves in and out. So it's not terribly bad on low because it's pretty far away from its resonant frequency. But when you get closer to high is where the problem really originates. So this is medium, and the case is starting to shake now. I'm not sure how well this is going to come across on camera, but it is starting to shake. And then high. It's actually doing better than I remember. It's the first time I powered it up in years. It's not nearly as bad as it was before. Before, it would physically move like this. I mean, I'm not lying. It would physically shake itself off whatever surface you put it down on. So obviously that little piece of putty is actually doing pretty well. So I may use that to go off of. I may in fact just add more. I don't know what kind of material that was, where I got it from, but it's stayed on there. It doesn't fly off. So I may just add a little bit more to maybe this with this blade or the adjacent blade. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, actually that's not as bad as I thought it was, so that's good. But I would like to make it better. It's always good to make it better. So yeah, I'm gonna get my power meter out and see how much juice this thing takes. So I've got it plugged into my watt-hour meter, so it's currently on 0 watts. So we will turn it on to low now. And I expect it to start up and then drop down a bit. So we're sitting at 100 watts maximum. So that is that would be the startup current. So if I go to instantaneous watts, it's sitting at 90, 95, 96 watts. So, wow, that's actually a little bit higher than I expected. Okay, so let's move to medium. That's 123 watts, 122, jumping around a little bit. And go all the way. 180 watts. Wow. So that's because math. That's 2.06 amps. So wow. The 2.1 amp rating this thing has is actually very, very accurate. So wow, that draws a lot more power than I expected. I mean, okay, I knew it drew a lot of power because of the size of the motor the thing's got in it, but yeah, I didn't think it stayed that high. Wow, this thing is going to be expensive, but it's better than the 3,000 watt air conditioner that I've got. So yeah, I'm just gonna be I'm gonna get to the balancing of this. So I've had a bit of playing around with it. And I've actually removed a little bit of the putty here And I've gotten it to a point where I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how much it vibrates. It's very, very little, especially on the low setting, which is what this is going to be running most of the time. So I'm happy with the way it is balanced for now. So sorry you didn't really get to see a video of balancing this. If this putty wasn't here, or if I take this off and actually do it with a bolt, then I'll go through how I would do this, but it's good enough for now. I just wanted to show what was inside this. This thing is actually metal. I thought this was some sort of one of those like paperboard type things, but no, this is actually a metal flap. You have to bend this to get it down. And if you look up in there, if I can try and get some light in there, oh, that's not easy. There is nothing, but there's just a switch, a 3-position switch, and it's got these 3 wires that come out of it: the blue, black, and the red. And actually, no, there's a white as well. There's 4 wires. So obviously, what they're doing is, and if you follow those wires, they go into the motor. So obviously, they're using this switch to switch the coils in the motor, and that's what's doing the speed selection. So there's no auto transformer, rheostat kind of stuff going on. They're doing it all with the motor, which is good. It's what they should be doing, because that way you're not losing any power or any energy and heat or anything like that. So that's good. So I think I will put the cover back on, give this a little bit of a clean up, and it'll be ready to go. So sorry this wasn't a balancing video, but I thought it would at least still be interesting to show this off. I don't know how many people have this. I looked up the model number, the 1091, and I find basically no data on it. The 1098 was a lot more, well, apparently a little bit more popular than this, and it's the one that's got the different handle. It's got an actual like a plastic handle that's always popped up. It's like 2 posts. It's like a little H almost, and yeah, this one is probably the precursor to it, because as far as I know, the handle is the only difference. I mean, I don't know what motors they used and stuff like that in them, but I've seen them, and they seem to be exactly the same except for the handle. So this could be just a much earlier version, which is what I'm going to go off of, just because the model number is it precedes that. So anyway, hopefully that was a little bit interesting. Thanks for watching.